Good day, podcast community. Pete Kane here, Podcast Pete, podcaster and high performance coach. The four human drivers: be the best, takes intention, activate your superpower today. What are the four human drivers? First, aliveness. What does that mean to you? Aliveness is a mindset that you're living your life on purpose, that you're intentionally showing up on purpose, you're present, you're being intentional about the activities you generate. See, there's a thing about energy. There's a thing about generating energy. It doesn't automatically happen. You have to generate it. The way you live your life can be with aliveness. It took an event in my life to bring it to that aliveness stage. When I had a stroke over 3.5 years ago, I woke up the next day in a bright white room. Thought it was heaven at first. Then I started seeing people around me, family members. Then I started to frame it. Man, I'm alive. Dang, my day isn't up, but it could have been. And so when you spend 49 days on your back, not moving, not talking, not eating, not going to the bathroom, not showering, not doing anything for yourself, you have to depend on somebody else to help you. 1, it humbles you. 2, you're grateful. And 3, you say, you know what? I've got a second chance. And it was validated by a friend of mine, not a friend, but she became a friend, a nurse at Shepherd, who said, there was a little angel looking after you because the type of stroke you had, people don't survive. And if they survive, they're worse. And I'm sitting there with half a body, just loving when they turn you just a little bit, because movement is medicine. And when you can't move, you appreciate movement. So the idea that I ran in 20-some peach trees and I can't run today, over 3 years ago, I'm still working on the walking, still working on all the other functions that have to be rewired. I live every day like it's my last, because one day, I'm going to be right. But until then, I'm going to live with aliveness. I'm going to live with purpose. I'm going to live with excitement. I'm going to be present with every single person I connect with. I'm going to appreciate. I'm going to be grateful. I'm journaling. I'm doing things I've never done in my life. To say that I'm a journaler now versus 3.5 years ago, I never would have thought that. Because being dyslexic, writing was not easy for me. Matter of fact, it was painful because couldn't spell, couldn't think of words. They just didn't flow like most. So I labeled myself slow. Every email I sent out would have misspelled words. This was before spell check, and some words would even slip through because the meaning of words, spell check doesn't always catch it. So I lived in fear for years and years and years and years. I labeled myself slow. Now it's my superpower. So things can flip, but you have to have that moment when you say, I'm going to live my life differently. I'm going to live it with aliveness. I'm going to live it with purpose. I'm going to live it every day like it's my last, because some people don't know we all don't know when our last day is, but some people it comes sooner than later. So hug your loved ones, be present, get off that busy bus, get on the purpose plane where it's quiet, where you can live with excitement, with purpose. That's the first one. The next one is connections. What do I mean by connections? What I do each day, I talk to people, I connect with people, I make phone calls. I don't text like that's my communication, although I do text, but I don't make that the connection part. People have emotion, feelings. You can't get that from a text or an email, but you can when you make the connection, when you talk to people, when you listen, when you ask questions, when you're curious about people, when you absolutely connect with people. I hardly check email. I mean, it's sometimes days, because I like to talk and connect. And being somebody that didn't take the the academic route, I took the people route. So that wasn't totally a surprise, but now I live it with more intention and with more aliveness. And my days are so full because I'm practicing the 4 human drives. Meaningful purpose, the next one. When you're living with a purpose, when you're living with a vision, living with hope, living with honoring the struggle. We all go through struggle. Maybe I've had more than most. Starting over at 65, when all my friends are retiring, I'm starting over, completely over. I own nothing except the clothes and the shirt on my back. Now I do have a few things, but no car, no house, no toys, no toys. But my life is meaningful because of the pursuit of the vision of where I'm striving to be the best. I strive with the 5 to strive. I strive with Growth Day because after my stroke, and I had 49 days to think about life. You don't always have that much time. You're so reactive because we've gotten into the social media creates a lot of judgment. The average person makes over 1,000 judgments a day. Can you imagine what that does to your brain? I've been off social media for over 3 years. And man, my brain is just my heart and my brain. Now I'm going to come back with Borders. But the idea that I'm not making those judgments, not scrolling, I'm creating things like this, creating podcasts, creating thriving communities, creating and working with clients on high performance. I'm a certified high performance coach, trained by the best in the world. Brendon Burchard, look him up. Has half a dozen best-selling books. The High Performance Habits, which is clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence. Those are the 5. So when you practice those, when I do my daily fire every single day, I do the 5 to thrive. So if you want to get that aliveness, that connection, that meaningful pursuit, that personal growth, because if you don't have that self-reflection and you don't intentionally grow, you go backwards. Life is growing. working on ourselves every single day. 5 to thrive. Brendan talks to us, coaches us, gives us challenging frameworks. Then a related video comes in to support that. Then 2, not 1, 2 questions. And then you score yourself. That is my fuel to my rocket for the day. That is what gives me, continues to grow my vision, continues to feed the pursuit, the meaningful pursuit. Like I say, be bold, make an impact, and have fun. That's what I do each day. And are there difficult days? Sure. But I honor the struggle. Life is struggle. Look, if you think you're going to skate through life without any issues, you're just not approaching it with the right mindset. So having a meaningful pursuit, having that bigger vision, the reason we get off course and distracted and doing things, whether it's drugs, idols of certain sorts, is because we don't have a bigger vision for ourselves. We don't have a meaningful pursuit. And when you don't have your goals, the right mindset, and the habits to support that meaningful pursuit, you stop growing as much as you can. Personal development is a daily thing. That's why we always talk about Growth Day, because several 100,000 and 60 plus countries, probably up to 90 countries, well over 100,000, well, a couple 100,000 people are striving to grow every day. They're doing the 5 to thrive. When you do that and you absolutely intentionally invest in the 5 to thrive, in the library of learning, it's the Netflix of personal development. The Netflix of personal development. When you invest and create your life, that's when your life comes alive. Because if we fall in to the consumption model, which most are, 4 hours of TV a day, that's the average. Up to 3 hours of scrolling social media, 1,000 judgments that your brain is going through. Hey, look, you're programming your brain and you don't even realize it. Oh, I just like to stay in touch with people. Yes, you can, but put boundaries on it. Yes, it can be part of your life, but don't let it consume. You're consuming other people's lives. Create your life. Create your life. That's why we podcast. That's why we create online courses. That's why we coach our community. High performance coach. High performance coaching is those 5 habits. And we have a 12 session core that we help people make those transformations. And when people make transformations and they grow and they change and they discover meaningful purpose, they discover connections, they discover personal growth, the transformation starts to happen. And it's not 12 weeks and then I've got it all licked. It's every day. You take a shower on a regular basis to physically clean your body. Why not mentally clean your brain? Because we have 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts go through our head. Some more, some less. But we're mostly replaying negative things. That's why news is negative. So if you're like a news junkie, you got to be careful because you're consuming negative things. And when you do that, your brain gets conditioned. when you don't grow personally, you're smashing Teslas and yelling and screaming at people. It's because you need to have a meaningful pursuit. Nothing happens good in your life to hate or resent people. There is a lot of that going on. We need to be encouraged. We need to be challenged. We need to grow and program this, because if you're not programming it in a positive, helpful, challenging way, then the thoughts just replay the mistakes that you've made. You replay them over and over again. Whatever you think grows. Wherever you spend your time is where it's going to grow. You spend your time thinking negatively about the world, you're going to consume a negative mindset. And so you're going to look through the lens of a different world. That's why you have the world that have the 4 human drivers. And again, those human drivers are aliveness, connection, meaningful pursuit, and the last is personal growth. That's what we're talking to you today. Personal growth. Invest in you growing, because the best investment in your life, nothing even close, is investing in you. You are the magic and anything's possible. But you got to be intentional about it. You can't just think and not be able to be around a good community. Be around a person who's spent 20 years in human development, human behavior, understands the human drivers, understands the high performance coaching core 12, understands how to make transformation in people's lives, talking to you every day, and can do it for $50 a day. Once you discover, like I did, a year after my stroke, I went on a path of growth because I started investing in changing this to have that aliveness, to have those connections, to have a meaningful pursuit, and to personally develop. My Netflix, which I was never a TV person anyway, I gave up TV after my stroke. I gave up alcohol after my stroke. I gave up coffee. I drink coffee now. I gave up sugar. I kept giving up things to challenge myself because I was being challenged by Growth Day. So I continue to get better. I continue to work on it. And over the course of probably been 16 months, I invested more in personal growth and mastery. I went and hired a coach, a high performance coach. I ended up becoming a certified high performance coach. I got coached by the best, and I started the pursuit of meaning, of giving back, of impacting, of transforming lives through a framework. Didn't know all this, but it was a journey of personal development, of Growth Day that started it. I have always been personal development my whole life because I always battled what I thought was my challenge of dyslexia and ADD. Took me some pretty dark places. Every single time I tried to get off drugs, I crashed. Every time. Because I didn't have the skills to manage without it. So it became a crutch. It became something that I had to have. At 5 a.m., drop the pill. Now, I haven't had any drugs and any alcohol in over 2 years. And my brain is healthy. Yes, it's rewiring, but I feel so good because I'm off the artificial things. I wasn't a big drinker, but I realized that some of the stupid things I did in my life were around drinking. So why did I want to put myself in that position? I have to repair my brain anyway. So I took the Adderall out of my system, and I haven't had a pill since February 17th, over 2 years ago. I haven't had alcohol, in almost 3 years. No, about 2.5. So my brain is healthy. I think clearer, and I don't need speed, which Adderall is legal speed. That's all. You improve your skills, you can pursue a life without it. But I'm not here to tell you to jump off of it. Believe me, I did it and it crashed every single time, and it took me some pretty dark places. But I'm glad because I learned to honor the struggle, honor the challenges. Life is challenges, solving problems, working through, keep moving. Being stuck, which I would be, which I was back then, I'd stare at a computer screen all day long, frozen in depression. Not a good situation to be in. However, that was the past. I improved my skills. I've become a high performance coach. I've been listening to Growth Day every single day since I started. And that was when I heard a podcast. Brendan Bouchard was on a podcast with Ed Millett. And Ed speaks to us every Monday. And he mentioned Growth Day. I had seen Brendan 15 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that in San Francisco, but lost track. But when he mentioned Growth Day, I went, dang, I know how impressive he was back then, who knocked the socks off you in a good way. I tried it. I couldn't believe the value, the instructions, the coaching, the personal development library right there on my app every single day, helping to get better, improving, personally getting better. And my vision got bigger. My aliveness grew. My connections by being present. I've done over 400 podcasts. Man, it is the most incredible way to learn. I've had so many wonderful people on my podcast. And I get a chance to do that versus what I used to do. I was in digital marketing. That probably gave me a stroke. But that's a story for another day. But when you can have that self-examination, because a life living, you have to have self-examination, because if you don't, you react to everything, react to distractions, react to email, people's priorities, react by vegging out on the TV, consuming other people's lives, scrolling, just scrolling till your finger hurts. And you are scrolling and consuming other people's lives. Create your life. God created us to create our life. You've heard many times when you're on a plane and the flight attendant's talking about the safety. Okay, the oxygen mask's going to drop. Put it on you first. Don't stick it on the person beside you. You first. And if you take that same philosophy and you put the investment in you, Through personal development, you grow, and then your community can grow. Your family can grow. Because you work on this, you work on yourself. The magic is in you. Anything's possible. But it doesn't happen by accident. It takes intentional personal development. Just like you take a shower every day. Take a shower of personal development. Take a shower of growth day. Take a shower of the 5 to Thrive, the library of learning, the journaling. This journal, thank you, Alo. I mean, I have a big journal, Brendan's. This one right here. This planner, if you saw my planner, you know I border on OCD, but it's I think every morning, hours. I journal, I plan, and I implement. I think, I journal, I plan, and I implement. And when you start thinking, because that brings the aliveness, because you're on purpose, you have a meaningful purpose, you know what you're doing. You don't just get distracted on anything. You absolutely intentionally work on yourself. And if you make 1% improvement every day, it doesn't just add up, it compounds. And before you know it, you're learning, you're growing, the aliveness is there, the connection with people, the meaningful purpose, and your vision keeps growing and growing and growing. You've surrounded yourself with the best. And in our community, we do virtual events, we do live events, we do weekly meetups, global meetups. We do webinars, workshops. We do podcasts because we want to connect with the best and bring the best in so you can grow your community in our community. So everybody benefits. The world shifted. It's global now. And if you're not creating intentionally your global profile, you're missing opportunity. So when you get involved with us, you start to shift to a global mindset. You start to create, because when people meet you, they're going to search you. A friend of mine just sent me an email. It made my day. Mike Ware. This is for you, Mike. And he had, I don't know, the person, something was going on. He's an executive recruiter for the restaurant industry. And we go to lunch, and we've known each other for years. And we talk about podcasting and learning. And we talk about, raising the girls. He has 2 girls. I have 2 girls. And we talk about similar things. But when he said somebody was checking him out, they Googled him or they searched him. It's not just Google anymore. It's everywhere. And they found a podcast that we did years ago. And the question I asked him was, let me think if I can remember. It was, how do you value or something? But anyway, he said, people trust him. And they do, because he's lived his life building that, protecting his reputation, adding value. But my point was not just that, which was great, but they found this podcast. And people will search you. If they see nothing, that's it. The journey is over as far as pursuing what you have, pursuing getting to know you. It's now get to know you is know, like, and trust digitally. It used to be local, but the world changed. The internet, AI, social media, all these things. It's now, we're going through the wild, wild west times 100 right now, because AI is flipping the whole world upside down. And so this change that we're going through, you want to be in a community of people. You want to be around people that are lifting you up. You want to be learning better leadership skills, learning and pouring into yourself, because the magic is in you and anything's possible. But it starts with intention. Because a lot of my friends are retiring, I'm just starting over. I'm not retiring, and I don't recommend anybody retire. But I recommend people reset their purpose, because the facts are we die 2 years after we retire if we lack purpose. So you have a job, you leave your friends, your connections, and you don't repack the bag. You don't have a purpose. What's your purpose for your next chapter? Look, we're living to 100 years old. So if you retire at 65, that's 35 years you have left. That's a third of your life. You don't want to live it rocking in a rocking chair with no purpose. You want to live it with meaningful purpose. You want to make those connections. You want to be alive. You want to continue to work on yourself, continue to get better, continue to work. Take a shower of personal development. Do it daily. You take a shower on a regular basis. Hopefully you do. Because if you don't, you're stinky. And that's the same thing that happens up here. You don't take a personal development shower, this gets stinky. This gets stinky. You're yelling and screaming at people. You're mad at people. It's because you haven't worked on this. So I challenge you. Go to Growth Day. Get 7 days, holy mackerel, to try it out. It's the Costco of personal development. Try it. You may want to buy the bigger package. And the bigger package is you. The bigger package is growing yourself. That's the big package. Try it and see and discover personal growth. Personal growth. It's the secret sauce in those 4 human drivers. You get number 4 down. Number 1 gets better because you live more alive. Number 2 gets better. You make better connections. Number 3 gets better because your purpose, your meaningful pursuit part of that grows. So get Growth Day today. And if you get it through us, we want to reward you with it. It's an affiliate, so you can get it and share personal development. But you, when you do it, send us an email at support@petekane.me. And we'll send you my course of mindset, goals, and habits. Habits are outcomes. Habits create outcome. Your mindset, to feed that mind, you got 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts. And for my golfers out there, you're staying over a putt and you start thinking, man, I've missed so many of these putts. Well, then you'll wonder why you missed it. Because you had the wrong thinking. Nobody could tell, but you missed it. So you got to work on yourself. I made it before, I'm going to make it now. I made it before, I'm going to make it now. Feed your mindset. My friend Crystal Duke gave me a book, Mindset. Carol DeWick. You have growth and you have fixed. And we're always challenging our beliefs to challenge a fixed mindset. Always. It's just part of growth. You think you know something, but you really drew the wrong conclusion. I've done that so many times. And so many times after Growth Day. Challenge yourself to think, to open your mind, to grow. Growing is aliveness. Growing is making better connections. Growing is a more meaningful pursuit, bigger vision for yourself. and it starts with Growth Day. So if you want to connect with us in our community, go to pkane.me/connect. Connect with us. We want to help you grow your community inside of our global community, because the world changed and the thinking needs to change, because we're coming up on the most powerful trends. Let me see if I can bring this up. I have something here. I think I can. The 6, yes, hold on here, Nelly. I'm going to bring it up here in a second. Okay, that's that. Hold on here. I know I got it. 5. Yes, here it is. Okay, right here. There are 6 trends. 6. 5, we've been talking about personal development, the mobile trend, the AI technology trend, the crypto led by Bitcoin, the entrepreneur trend, and the digital asset trend. These are all 6 coming together at the same time. This is the most exciting time in my lifetime and yours too, no matter how old you are or how young you are. It's the most exciting time. But recognizing these trends, if we're not being aware, we're not around the right people, we're not feeding yourself correctly, and if you're not sure where you're going, you don't have clarity in your life, book a strategy session. Get some clarity. Understand the world is changing. And if we don't change fast, we're going to be left behind, because there's going to be people that are going to recognize these 6 trends. There's going to be people that are going to invest in themselves, personal development. There's people that are going to know what it takes to be creating digital assets. And like Daniel Priestley is the book that this is the best book next to all Brendan's books. Let me see here. I'll bring this up because this will allow you to understand a very simple but effective strategy. Here it is. There it is. Key Persons of Influence. 7-11-4. People have to consume 7 hours of UC on 11 different platforms. That's recognizing they're interested and they're making signals. They're interested. And they're doing it on 4 different platforms. When they do it on 4 different platforms, a book, a podcast, a video, a LinkedIn post, a workshop, an assessment, all these are different platforms. The brain clicks to know, like, and trust. Robert Dunbar has perfected this. People have to get to know you. I search you, and if I don't find anything about you, the journey stops there. Continue the journey. Allow people to consume your content, and you got to be intentional about that. Our pitch is simply, we generate leads, create cash flow, and build thriving communities, period. And when we do that, we are on our way to building that digital profile, creating those digital products, making the presentations, and creating partnerships. We have a video on that. You can look at that somewhere else, but be with us. Come with us. Have a strategy session. Know where you want to go. Be clear about it. Know how to live aliveness. Know how to connect. Know how to have a meaningful purpose. And invest in you, because the best investment is you. The magic is in you, and anything's possible. We hope to see you be with us, because we have live events, we have virtual events, we have weekly events, we have workshops, we have webinars, we have ways to connect you. Each person we bring in, we connect them. We allow them to grow and thrive in the community. And it starts with personal development. Get Growth Day today, petekane.me/growth day, and start your journey, your 7-day journey of having Brendon Burchard, the best coach on the planet, and 4 of the 5 others that are there to help you. And have Ed Mylett speak to you every Monday. And he has courses in there. So it's the best community that you'll ever be a part of. Join us today. Start, experience it, and then invest in yourself. All right. My name's Pete Kane. Be bold.